Actually, the basic principles of the Russian foreign policy, as they are stipulated in the updated concept of the foreign policy, the basic principles of the Russian foreign policy remain unchanged. These principles are openness, predictability, pragmatism, multi-vector, focus on assertion of national interests without confrontations. And all these, of course, goes together with the determinative role of the United Nations and the rule of international law. Such a foreign policy is characterized by continuity and reflects the unique role of Russia as a country, unique role of Russia as a balancing factor in international affairs and in development of the global civilization. Russian foreign policy is aimed to create a stable and sustainable system of international relations based on the principles of equal rights, mutual respect, and non-interference in internal affairs of states. And of course, one of the main tasks of the Russian foreign policy is to contribute to the creation of favorable external conditions for the social and economic development of our country, which you know is now in a very positive trend. We have positive indicators of the GDP growth, relatively low inflation, growing internal demand, and growing export capabilities. So, of course, the Russian foreign policy is aimed also at creating favorable conditions for our further social and economic rise. So, we believe that the United Nations, which has proven to have no real alternative in the present-day world, and which has a unique legitimacy, should be still considered as a center of regulating of international relations. So, the emphasis on the growing role of the United Nations is really one of the pillars of our foreign policy. In this context, what are the basic directions, concrete directions of the Russian foreign policy that are approved in the review concept? First is to support efforts aimed at strengthening the central and coordinating role of the United Nations. Then goes this point, to secure sustainable regulation of global development, which requires collective leadership of the leading countries of the world, with, of course, the central role of the United Nations, and to ensure proper representation of such collective leadership in geographical and civilizational relations. With this aim, Russia will increase its integration in such formats as Group of 20, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, then Group of 8, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, RIC, Russia, India, China mechanism, as well as other institutions and international venues. And I would like to say with great satisfaction that we are, the Russian side, we are cooperating in a very constructive and productive way with Indonesia on the venue of the G20 group, where Russia this year is chair country. Third point is to promote the rule of law in international relations, to maintain and strengthen international legislation. We think that to counterpart on attempts to revise commonly accepted norms of international law stipulated by the UN Charter and other universal documents is a very important task today. As well as to counteract to arbitrary interpretation of the most important international legal norms and principles, such as non-use of force and peaceful settlement of international disputes, respect of the sovereignty of the states. We think that a very important task is to prevent attempts motivated by the concept of responsibility to protect, to carry out military intervention and other form of external interference, which contradicts with the foundations of the international law, based on the principle of the sovereign equality of states. One more direction of our foreign policy is to work in favor of reducing the power factor, the factor of power in international relations, while strengthening strategic and regional stability. This, in particular, includes fulfillment of a treaty between Russia and the United States on the further reduction and limitation of strategic offensive arms, supporting establishment of the zones free of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction, including in the Southeast Asia, and the creation of a collective response system for potential missile threats, which comes together with countering unilateral, unlimited steps to build missile defense system by one or more states, which would endanger strategic stability and international security. We also see as a task a political and diplomatic settlement of regional conflicts on the basis of collective actions by the international community through involvement of all parties into dialogue, rather than isolating any other party. And to promote dialogue and partnership between cultures, religions and civilizations, including in the framework of the United Nations, and we all know how the interest towards promoting interconfessional, intercivilizational dialogue is strong in Indonesia, and we appreciate it. The next task is to promote stability of the global economy and finances, based on the high rates of economic growth in Russia, which is built on stability of the internal demands, unique natural and financial resources, as well as responsible social and economic policy. We also are going to ensure equal positions of Russia in the system of the world economic relations, including in the context of Russia's journey in the WTO and future journey in the OECD. We also intend to activate the Russian contribution to international development, presuming the fact that sustainable economic and social development of all countries is a necessary element of modern system of collective security. We also will take efforts to ensure respect for human rights and freedoms worldwide through equitable international dialogue that would also take into account national, cultural, and historical distinctive features of each state.